It is Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you know what that means? It means that we are doing another live video because every Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Make a Right Left here on the right YouTube channel, we like to do what we call live. But today, every Saturday is some sort of educational or motivational or advice giving video, and so today is no different. We are going to be doing something that has to do. We're going to be dealing with author voice, right? So that's why Rewrite the Greats, author voice, and prose. And specifically today, we are going to be focusing on Rebecca Yarros's fourth wing. Fourth wing, right? Fourth wing. But fourth wing. We are only going to be touching on the first page, the first couple prose. And we're not going to rewrite all the prose. And this is not a, hey, look at me, I write prose. This is more of a, how does our author voice go from taking something that exists, which is a plot and already written, and how do we put it into our own voice so we can see what our voice is? And you'll see that author voice is a mixture of everything from what we care about, the themes we talk about, the stories we want to tell, but it's also the way we utilize chapters, prose, and etc. All right. Before we get started, though, we'll wait for a couple people to jump into the live room, as we do every week. But more importantly, boop. All right. So, as you can see, we have up here chapter 1. Hey, flowers, how's it going today? Welcome to the show. All right. Thank you so much. As always, you're here every week, so it's a pleasure to have you on board and to get to talk to somebody when we go over author voice. All right. People are starting to come in, and it's important to understand what we're doing today. If you are new here and it's your first time, this is all about author voice, not look at me, I can write. This is all about figuring out the style in which we write, which is not necessarily, I said it on a post that I just did. It's not about the best words. It's about the right words that best represent what you're trying to say, your themes, your ideas, the stuff that matters to you, your worldviews, things like that. But we never want to be preachy. We want to always have multiple sides from left and right. But how do we discover our author's voice if we're taking something that exists? Like, let's say somebody goes, hey, I want you to write this XYZ thing, right? And then you're like, well, this isn't the story I would normally write, but I'm being paid to write it. But why are they hiring me? And the reason is because it's the way you utilize chapters, the way you utilize your sentences and your prose. Maybe for me, I write more cinematically. I like to be more physical based, like action based, as if we're watching a film or a television show play out. It's a little bit more my speed. What is up, bro? Howdy, Thomas. Hello, flowers. All right. So what you're going to see today is you're going to see me rewriting. I'm going to keep, I like to keep the same plot points. I like to keep the same movement, but I'm going to write it more in my speed. I will try to stay to the same tense and also POV. So as you can see, this is already, we can see it's already first person. I tighten the strap. This is also present tense, which is fun because it's an exercise, because I don't traditionally write in first person and I don't traditionally write in present tense. I like past tense, third person, limited if possible. However, there's nothing wrong with omniscient, nor is there anything wrong with first person. Second person, I think maybe you're on drugs. But so the first thing we'll do is we'll read a little bit and then we'll kind of like go over what she has here. And then we're going to we'll take it on and we'll try to write something. And remember, it's always first draft. It's, everything needs work. All great writing is rewriting. But a couple things before we get going. There is a conversation going on the internet right now where they're saying that, people who write their work is being taken and putting into like AI detectors or whatever. And an AI detector is saying that, oh, this was partially written by AI. And one of the things they did is they took the Bible and put it into the AI detector, and it said that 75% of the Bible was AI. Well, why am I bringing it up? Is because one of the discussions that are in the community of writing right now, especially for authors, is they're being challenged on their quality of work, but specifically, they're saying, well, there's sure telltale time. There are sure signs and telltale. There are ways to tell if somebody's using AI, and one of those is the M dash. Now, Rebecca Yarros, as a published author, and we have one. Right, we have two. We got two M dashes, page 1. All right, so M dashes don't necessarily mean you're using AI. So if you like M dashes, like I like M dashes, continue using your M dashes. They also say if you use semicolons, it's a strong hint that because who are you to have perfect grammar? And that's why we have copy editors and line editors, and editors come in and they help you with this stuff. But with that said, we're also going to look at a couple other things, right? There's a fear with writing sometimes when we look at it. Like, this is the thing. Like, when you're writing, your first draft, you should be focusing on what you want to write. It's called, your throw up draft, where you're just getting on the page, and if, yeah, right. Am I, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You both know what I'm saying. So, but when you're writing, just get it out. But a lot of times we fear like, oh, am I using I too much, especially in first person? Am I using my too much? Am I using the character's name too much? And the thing is, this is a published book. This is obviously, it made some sales. All right. But we have a sentence that starts off with I. Okay. My. All right. And then, of course, this breaks it up a little bit. This is 6 months of intensive. Okay, that's telling. Then we got I'm. Okay, we get it. All right. So they're clearly switching it up, right? Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So, but also the is a scary one too. If we look, the is used a lot too. See the, right? Okay. Let's see some more things. Really. Oh, look at it. The 2 times in a row, right? So that's something that people usually go, hey, you shouldn't do that. But and obviously, it's how you use it, not necessarily that you don't use it. I've tried to switch Copilot off today, and can I do it? Exactly. Yes, you can. Turn to Copilot. Draw your own conclusions on what AI is trying to say about itself there. Oh yeah, when it comes to AI, just to sort of like slip back to that. Look, if people start saying you're writing with AI and you're not, or more importantly, let's say you're using AI for research, or you're asking questions, like, for example, we've talked about this. If you put a scene into it and you ask AI, what is happening in the scene, to make sure that what you wrote, somebody is articulating it, and you go, good, everything I wanted in the scene is there. AI isn't helping you write it. AI isn't necessarily writing it for you, but it's sort of like getting a second opinion on, are you articulating what your purpose is? So I don't think that is necessarily using AI to write. Because obviously you should have alpha readers at one point in the process, which would be human interaction, and then beta readers, and then of course line and copy editors, which is all a part of the process. But at the end of the day, people are also, they're saying like the way we use words and stuff like that. But honestly, I don't think you should worry about it. Just write, be you, get it out, and I think it's horrible when they do it and you're clearly not having AI write your stuff, and then like you're the one who has to suffer with it because now people are like, oh, but really you didn't use it. I don't know. That's an aside. But all right, let's keep looking at this for a second. All right. Now what's interesting is this is first person, right? And one of the other common rules or suggestions is, make sure it's not mostly exposition or action right in the beginning. You want to try to get character in there and dialogue. And the first thing she says is way down here. So, and it's only one line. So again, it's not really about living rigid to the rules. It's about basically knowing when and where to break the rules, play with the rules, and adjust the rules to fit your story. You know what I'm saying? Also, look at this. There's and there's. Okay. It happens. All right. Ooh, here's another line. All right. And by the way, this is internal thought for anyone who doesn't know. And because it's in first person, it makes sense. Shite. Okay. All right. Let's read it a little bit and see what we got here. Conscription Day is always the deadliest. Maybe that's why the sunrise is especially beautiful this morning, because I know it might be my last. I tightened the straps of my heavy canvas rucksack and trudged up the wide staircase of the stone fortress I call home. My chest heaves with exertion, my lungs burning by the time I reach the stone corridor leading to General Sorengal's office. This is what 6 months of intensive physical training has given me. The ability to barely climb 6 flights of stairs with a 30-pound pack. I'm so fucked. The thousands of 20-year-olds waiting outside the gate to enter their chosen quadrant for service are the smartest and strongest in Navari. Hundreds of them have been preparing for the rider's quadrant, the chance to become one of the elite since birth. I've had exactly 6 months. The expressionless guards lining the wide hallway at the top of the landing avoid my eyes as I pass, but that's nothing new. Besides, being ignored is the best possible scenario for me. Bellezza War College isn't known for being kind to, well, anyone, even those of us whose mothers are in command. Every Navarian officer, whether they choose to be schooled as healers, scribes, infantry, or riders, is molded within these cruel walls. Over 3 years, honed into weapons to secure. All right, I gotta stop. I can't do it anymore. I can't read this crap. Hey, what's up, Emma? All right, couple things. All right, right off the bat, for those who follow, you know that I'm not a fan of exposition. I like exposition to come through character, so I call it character exposition, which means that things unfold through the experiences, the emotional experiences and choices of characters, and information is seeded through the movement of the narrative and not necessarily an aside. So a couple things, the reason I marked this out. This is personality, so this is kind of funny, right? This is what 6 months of intense physical training has given me, the ability to barely climb 6 flights of stairs with a 30-pound pack. That is character exposition, because it is through their perspective or their way they process something, right? However, this crap is, this moment is exposition. The thousands of 20-year-olds waiting outside the gate to enter their chosen quadrant for service are the smartest and strongest in Navari. That is exposition. Cooking, but popping in to boop that like button and to make sure Thomas isn't up to any mischief. Thank you, Emma. And I'm always up to mischief. So this here, I'll do this in red. I'm not a fan of exposition. So let's do Consumption Day is always the deadliest. That's a statement of opinion. So it's not necessarily true, right? But that is telling, which becomes exposition. Maybe that's why the sunrise is especially beautiful this morning, because I know it might be my last. All right, so that's character exposition because it's creating a position, right? We talk about positions, which is the things they believe in, and it's how greatly or how little they or they believe in something. So this is creating a position, so this is good. I tighten the straps of my heavy canvas. This is explaining the physical elements. This is probably something more like my speed. I tightened the straps of my heavy canvas rucksack and trudged. I would write trudge because it's past this, but trudge up the wide staircase of the stone fortress I call home. This again is considered character exposition because it is through the movement of the character and their experience. Okay, so we are experiencing them trudging up, strapping up their boots, trudging up the wide staircase, and then we learn that it's what they call home. We learn that it's a fortress. That is not an aside or exposition. That is through the movement of the narrative. Okay, my chest heaves with exertion. My lungs burning by the time I reach the stone corridor leading to this is also, I would consider this also. So this is all character. This is all character exposition. So, and it does a nice little mix. So this is it has a mixture of physical movement and exposition through the character's experience, and then this is sort of like an aside, but it is a character moment. Because remember, every sentence should have one or more of these three elements: plot forward, character development, or world building. And they can have one or more. So they can have one or two or three of those elements in one sentence. And if we're going to look at that, this is what 6 months of intensive physical training is. So this is all start of one sentence. This is plot forward. So we are moving the plot forward. We know that she's been training for 6 months physical therapy. And then this is character development, the ability to barely climb 6 flights, because it is a position. They are creating a position of their physical weakness. I'm so fun. All right. That's technically character. That's character. All right. The 1,000 of years. This to me is just pure exposition. I said it earlier. So technically it is plot forward because we are informing and explaining what's happening. The thousands of 20-year-olds are waiting outside the gate to enter the chosen quadrant. All right. Hundreds of them have been prepared. This is also pure exposition. Writers, quadrants, the chance to become one of the elites since birth. Yeah, right. This is also technically okay. All right. The expressionless guards lining the wide hallways at the top of the lane avoid my eyes as I pass, but that's nothing new. So this is character exposition, and the reason is, let's make it purple so it looks better, so you can see it clearer. If anyone's listening, why is this character exposition and not narrative exposition? Can anyone tell me in the comments why this right here, the expressionless guards lining the wide hallway at the top of the landing avoid my eyes as I pass, but that's nothing new. And also, is this plot forward? Is this character development? Or is this world building? Or is it a combination of any of those three? Let me know in the comments section what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. Okay, so besides being ignored is the best possible scenario. This is also boom. Okay. All right. So we're probably not even going to get this far with the writing, but let me go into some. And by the way, please answer that question if you want. You don't have to, but I'm going to continue forward, and if anyone answers the question, I will respond to it as I always do. Okay. So let's talk about author voice and see what we could discover in Rebecca Yarros. Okay. Mrs. Yarros. All right. Ooh, my phone's fully charged. All right, here goes. So, first and foremost, do we know if she believes in these things? We don't know. So we are just speculating based on the things that are happening within, within this section here. This whole section. This section. This section. Oh, by the way, I had what do I want to read? Oh, this originally was published in 2023, April 5th, the day before my birthday. Is that really true? This really came out in 2023. That's a couple of years ago. Let's see. It's considered fantasy, romantic fantasy, and high fantasy. Oh, interesting. All right. I wonder how many let's look at this reviews here. What we got here? Ooh. It has 405,436 reviews. Jesus. Wow. All right. So that's pretty crazy. Let's see how many. There are zero. I don't know if this is accurate, but it says here on Amazon that there are 0% 1 and 2 stars. The lowest rating star it has is 3 stars, and there's only 2%, but 87% rating. I love reading the 3. Let's see. I should start this by saying I'm not much of a romance novel reader. That means your review is no longer. I can't even read the rest of it. I'm not a fan of reviews where it starts off. I don't really like action. But anyway, Total Recall. All right, this is a 3. If the CW wrote fantasy, this would be it. Fourth Wing reminds me of every show on the CW I've ever seen. Tropey, angsty, full of teen. Well, it is about a teenager. Yeah, she's a teenager. I don't know. Anyway. Woo! All right. So part of let's get into this. Game over, man. Game over. All right. Some of the things that we have to pay attention to is that she's writing this with a casual tone. All right. So her author voice in this is very casual, almost conversational, right? It is definitely a first person. That is a part of your author voice. What do you write in? Do you traditionally write in first person, third person, right? Things like that. Okay. This to me, she's writing more internally, I guess would be the way to go about it. Because it's very little. Like this is a little bit of physical and this is a little bit of physical, which is what I like. I mentioned that earlier, but this is internal. This is all internal because it's information. This is physical, but this is internal. Isn't known for being too kind. Well, anyone even know, right? Everyone officer, whether they choose. This is all internal because it's explaining things to you, right? It's all. So we're not getting to see a lot. Now, the other thing that's there's to me, there's not a lot of immersion, but you have a little bit. So you have some of this, like the burning lungs. That's immersion, right? But at the core of it, it's mostly internal, right? So the immersion comes from what she's experiencing internally and her just straightforward stuff. But there's a lot of world building. And that's another thing, right? That's another note we get. Hey, you don't want to give a lot of information up front. You want the reader to slowly partake in the information. Well, right off the bat, we learned that it's consumption day. So that's world building. That's information, right? Staircase, general. This is a name. Office 2. Right, 1,000 waiting outside the chosen quadrant. All right, 300 of them. The quadrant 4. Right. Let's see. Besiege Ward College 5. This is another variation, so that's 6 because that's new information. Like the Kingdom of Porelli, right? That's 7. Writers Quadrant, that's well, they have dragons. We won't count that because that's a familiar word. Border on East Wing, that's 9. Maria, that's 5. Let's see. Shite. All right, so that's 10. So there's 10 points of information basically in page 1. What does that tell us about writing when we're trying to get our voice out there? Is do not worry about that kind of stuff right at the bait. Okay. It's all about pace when it comes to information. Remember, pace is the speed at which information is presented to the reader. So if you could pace out things and you could keep it flowing with logical narrative movement, it'll allow information-based stuff to sort of just come and go, right? And you won't be really pushed out with it. Could you repeat the question once again? No. Yeah, sure. Basically, what is this? Why is it character exposition? And then the other one is what are the elements that are being expressed? Is it plot forward, character development, or world building, or is it a combination of those things? So again, is this what I have outlined right here? this whole thing. Looking at that, this is a good exercise just for the writer brain. Is this why is this character exposition and not narrative exposition? And then is it plot forward, character development, or world building, or any combination of those? Okay, moving on. All right, I guess that's enough analyzing of the stuff. We analyzed it, and I think that. Oh, the other thing about her is, let's look at the sentence structure. So this is pretty short. This is long, right? This is long. This is long. This is long, right? So, by the way, that would be a version of in writing. Pace is the speed at which information is presented to you, but also long and short sentences influence your pace. Fast reading and slow reading, that's a different thing, okay? We're looking at density, right? So the more dense something is, the slower the pace. Of course, the more complicated the information, the slower the pace, because it's the amount of time it takes you to process it as a reader. So if it's a lot of information that is really easy to understand, for example, if we see the word dragon, we're not sitting there going, oh, where's a dragon? Oh, what do you mean, dragon? We're not trying to picture, well, where is the dragon? I can't picture the dragon, right? But if we say this is technically a moment of, like, what is that? All right, well, I know what a college is. So this part doesn't really register me. It's a war college. Okay, so maybe the learning curve, it's a school where they teach you how to be soldiers. Oh, what can I relate that to? Napoli or whatever it's called. Neopile, I don't know, the Navy school. So that's a slow pace because you have to think about it. Of course, all this, the remaining of it, is technically fast. And if you notice, it's another long sentence. So part of her writing style or her author voice is using these long sentences. I mean, look at this one. This is one sentence, bro. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a fan of what we would consider complex sentence writing, right? So complex sentences are when you have multiple clauses and you're connecting. You know, it's like sitting upon the rock. Thomas flicked through the pages of his long-winded tomb, blackened by the fires of history and time, and the course of whatever, for example, a complex sentence. So sitting on the rock, Thomas flicked through his tomb, blackened by the history of age and time, and there he read through the words of his ancestors. All right. Waiting his mind to rest from the last fight he had with his parents. Okay, so that's telling them. But anyway, this is a long, complex sentence because there's a lot going on. So sitting on the rock sets it up, right? But this continues it. What is he doing? He's flicking the tomb. Now we have this is a qualifier to describe the tomb. The tomb. Did I spell that right? Okay, and then what is he doing? And there is the continuous article, basically, the connecting article, I think. And there is there. Oh, there he. Oh, and now this is the action, and there he read through the words of his ancestors. We qualify that, waiting for his mind to. So that's what a complex sentence looks like. Oh, we got an answer. It is. Is it because it's from the character's perspective point of view rather than just being described by the author as a narrative? Correct. Ro, you are correct. Give this man a ham. Get this man a ham. Yes. So it is through the character's POV. Sorry, emotional experience. The expressionless guards lining the wide hallway at the top of the landing avoided my eyes. That would be exposition. But because of this next part, it is character. Avoiding my eyes as a piss. But that's nothing new. Creates their process of what they just experienced. So it is less telling and more showing because they are experiencing and have an opinion on the expressionless guards lining. Okay. Oh, hi, just joined in and I'm trying a magic system from my name called The Bloom of Echoing Grace. I like it. Just make sure you don't cast fireball in a small area. Hurrah! Correct. All right, I guess let's do it. Let's get into the writing of it. Very good, Rob. Proud of you. Okay. Conscription Day is always the deadliest. By the way, the reason that's a good... I think this is young adult, though. Isn't this young adult? I think this is young adult. I don't remember. Let me see. To me, this feels young adult. You got to tell me. I think this is young adult. Is fourth moon considered young adult? No, it's not. Really? Doesn't refer to a specific group. A young adult. Oh, considered young adult fantasy. Wow. It's classified as, new adult. That's right. Oh, new adult. New adult, which is basically young adult, but anyway. Do you want to look up my name? I'm willing to give you my real name if you want to. Hannah, that is up to you. I don't want anyone to ever... I think it's called doxing. You don't have to dox yourself. I know that a lot of people will watch this. So if you're trying to maintain anonymity, I get it. But if you want to privately message me or reach out on the Facebook group, feel free to. I'm always happy to talk to people. Do they drop F-bombs in YA? No. Yes, they don't. But that's why it's considered young adults. You're allowed to now say fuck. To me, this writing is you don't have that's all right. I'm on Instagram. I'm on them all. I'm on Instagram, on Threads, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on you can contact me through my website, which is makearightleft.here.com. You can go to the contact page. All right. So it's young adults. I only ask because this is very let me tell you something. You need to know this. Conscription Day is always the deadliest. Maybe that's why. Oh, what are the rules? The rules are, for anyone listening, I'm going to try to write within the same plot and movement of the narrative. I'm just going to try to do it through my voice as an author. So, okay, I can't wait. What's it say? What's going on here? Oh, jumped up. Okay. I can't say I've read much YA. Yeah, YA also doesn't have sex, and I think it has some relationships, but YA is mostly if they do anything, they'll be it's like new love. And it's usually characters that are 12 to 18. But again, remember, the age of your protagonist doesn't necessarily equate to the age group of your book. Me neither. I can barely remember being one. All right, what do we got here? Let's do it. Conscription Day is always the deadliest. Maybe that's why the sunrise is especially beautiful this morning, because I know it might be my last. In the closing moments of my wake, sunrise broke free. Beautiful morning. One I know might be my last. All right. Obviously. Otherwise, the censors are really doing it terrible. Yes. They were like, what's the deal? It's so fucked here. Anyway, in the closing moments of my wake. Oh, in the closing moments of my wake. Now, I also like immersion. The warmth of sunlight broke free in its rise. One. Okay. For conscription day. So it's the deadly. All right. So I kind of changed it around a little bit, but I'm actually going to adjust some things. Oh, wait. I can't. Son of a. Hate that. I don't know why, but when I'm live. Oh, you know why? Because the hotkeys change. For conscription. Okay. So why did I turn it around? I'll tell you why. So, and I added a little bit more. I'm going to adjust some more things. But the reason I'm writing it this way is because, again, I prefer to move through characters and allow it to be felt through a logical narrative movement. But also, I like atmosphere. I have a lyrical touch to my writing. Okay. So what is the big difference here? In the closing moments of my wake, which means I am waking up, the warmth of sunlight broke free in its rise. So I don't have to say sunrise, but now I'm saying I'm using more words, obviously, but one I know might be my last. For conscription day is always the deadliest. So instead of making a statement, I'm drawing the reader in. And by the way, neither version is considered the best way to do it. This is just an exercise in showing you how author voice works. Okay, clearly Rebecca Yarros sold her book, right? So she has to be knowing what she's doing. But by the way, published books don't mean unpublished books or self-published books are not good. It just means there are certain trends, market. There's certain styles that people are looking for. There's certain themes people are looking for. For example, and this is not a negative thing or anything, but they are working to bring more voices to authors who would be considered, more of the LGBT. I don't know the whole thing by heart, so please. But the LGBTQ what do they just call it? Queer for people. And also female voices, right, for authors, right? And there's nothing wrong with that because we get it. There's been a slew of books written by other people who are not necessarily that category. So that doesn't necessarily mean what you're writing, if it's not getting picked up, that you're a bad author. So being traditionally published or chosen by an agent isn't a direct reflection on your skill level or talent. Yes, the alphabet crowd. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know. Some people say I'm a part of the ABCs, but because I'm poly. But I don't. Is poly a sexual orientation, or is that a way of life? I don't know. I believe in lots of love. Okay. Anyway. So in the closing moments of my wake, the warmth of sunlight broke free in its rise. One I know might be my last, for conscription day is always the deadliest. All right. So there's a couple things here that I'm going to point out about the original that I might change for my version. First, the logical narrative movement here. Okay. So here, conscription day is always the deadliest. If you notice, she doesn't necessarily qualify or add to that sentence. She just creates and again, there's nothing wrong with this. I'm just pointing out some things to think about as a writer. she jumps more to a new movement, which is maybe that's why the sunrise is especially beautiful this morning. So this is more of a opinion or thought on conscription day, right? Being the deadliest. Okay. If we wanted to build on that with logical narrative movement, maybe it would be conscription day is always the deadliest, and then maybe talk about either why it's the deadliest or explain what conscription day is, which then leads into maybe that's why the sun, right? So that's why I decided to also have conscription day be the final thing, because now I'm allowed to create a new logical narrative movement. All right, which creates a new passage. Remember, your prose should create new movements, but they could also be a reflection of the previous beat. Okay, but in this situation, it goes, because I know it might be my last. And then it just jumps right to her putting on her bootstraps. And all right, so this is really quick for me. Like, in my mind, this is too quick. The pacing's really fast for this. I tighten the straps on my heavy canvas rucksack and trudge up. So in this, I don't think she's waking up now. Maybe that's why the sunrise is especially beautiful this morning. All right, so she's already up, right? So if that's the case, if she's not waking up and it's already the sunset, okay. So we don't have to do the wake up. We could do this though. We could do this. We can write, in the closing moments of morning's wake, the warmth of sunlight free its rise. Okay. I think I'm going to do, in the closing moments, morning routine. The warmth of sunlight broke free through the windows of the hall. Rise. All right, so now I just got to clean it up. In the closing moments. Okay. All right. So in the rush, my morning. The warmth of sunlight broke free. Through the windows of the hall and its rise. One I know might be. Okay. All right. So, all right, there you go. Now it is no longer she's waking. She is sort of like rushing. So we already have her in movement through the hall, okay, which then allows this to make more sense when I get to it. So to me, this is sort of like she's talking, and now she just happens to be in a place. But I also like to create a sense of place when I write. That's a part of my voice. I really like the environment to be a part of it. I might even do, in the rush of my morning routine, thick boots bouncing off the stone walls. And there, the warmth of sunlight broke through the windows of the halls. In its rise, one I know might be my last. Okay, so now I'm adding even more elements to the world. I don't like white room. Now, I'm not saying she's doing the white room. She starts building the environment here. I like to build the environment, the atmosphere, and I like to allow some sort of lyrical movement in the narrative. So right now, in the rush of my morning routine, my thick boots bouncing, my thick boots bouncing off the stone walls, all right, whatever, I can even say my, I already have rush. My thick boots bouncing off the stone walls. Yeah. That's the warmth of night. In the rush of my morning. My thick boots bouncing off the stone walls. In the rush of my morning, my thick boots bounce. I guess it's bouncing. I don't know. Bouncing off the stone walls. There. And there in the warmth of sunlight. Off the windows. Okay, one second. I'm working here. All right. In the rush of my morning, my thick boots bouncing off the stone walls. All right, so we can, in the rush of my morning, let's just do this. Stone. All right. Boots, my thick boots. There in the warmth of sunlight, lining the hall through windows as it rose. Windows in its rise. One I know might be my last. Now I got to change the context a little bit, right? It's because I wanted to represent what she's saying here because I know it might be my last. It's her last morning. So in the rush of my morning, the stone walls hit back against my thick boots, and there in the warmth. All right, so this might be going a little crazy. Let's go back to. And this is the thing, right? We want to speed up the. What are you doing, Tom? Okay, in the rush of my morning, the warmth of sunlight broke through the windows of the hall and its rise. Okay, all right, so, all right, there we go. Let's explain pace real quick. This slows down the pace because I'm giving a lot of information to the reader, right? It's the morning, the stone walls hit against the thick boots, so I have thick boots on, and they're in the warmth of the sun, right? So it starts getting a little convoluted. So sometimes a quicker pace allows for more clarity. So here we go. In the rush of my morning, we know it's morning, the warm. Now we're qualifying the morning, right? The warmth of sunlight broke through the windows of the hall and its rise. One I know might be my last, for consumption day is always business. Okay, there we go. All right. Now let's see. I tightened the straps of my heavy canvas rucksack and trudged up the wide staircase to the stone fortress I call home. I just heaved with exertion, my lungs burning by the time I reached the stone corridor leading to. I really like this. This is one part that I find very funny. But all right, this is another thing I would do. So I try to make it where I don't use all the names or mean. I like to sort of like start sentences with sort of like movement. So tightening, right? Straps. I'm drawing. Here we go. Back. I trudge up the wide staircase. All right. Stone was the fortress. All right. It's stone. Stone make it hard against my thick boots. Okay. Ooh, wait. Stone. It hard against my thick boots. Cycle. Okay, there we go. All right. So what is the difference I did here? Well, for this one, oh, by the way, let me make it like that. Okay. So I did this one already. Let's mark off what I've done so far. We've done this, boop, and we've done this. All right. So what is the big difference I did here? I'm creating more movement in my mind. So this one to me feels like it is sort of like informing us of what's happening, right? Even though it is showing, because I tighten my start thing. All right. But I like, the reason I also like complex sentences is because it creates like a cinematic movement, right? Tightening my straps, drawing my heavy to my back. I trudged up, I trudge up the wide staircase. Now I want to qualify the staircase. Its stone hit hard against my thick boots as I climbed the fortress I call home. So now not only am I starting to give shape to the character, she's wearing thick boots, she has the heavy sack, right? But we're giving context to how she's climbing up the stairs, but also how the stone and her effort is reflecting on her. And the reason I'm doing that is because, again, she makes few comments later that it's difficult, right? So, but also we have this line. All right. Also, if you notice, I'm trying to add a little bit more immersion. I'm describing things. I'm giving stuff some sort of texture. All right. My chest heaves with exertion. Oh. My lungs burning by the time I reach this. Okay. So yeah. All right. All right, so here's something I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to add a little bit of character. If I remember correctly, general. She doesn't really like the general, right? Or does she like? Okay, a familiar voice thunders through the general's thick wood door, and I guess there's only one woman on the corner. To raise her voice to the general. Okay, yeah. So the general. Okay. Should be here. Not that I should be rushing to. Okay, so I would add one of these to here. All right. Oh, what do we got? Are there any factors that go into your personal choice to describe an environment? Yes. So when I'm trying to describe environment, my goal, as one might say, is that I'm trying to create a camera shot. What is it we're paying attention to? So with the feet, right? During my heavy games, I trudged. It's stone hit. Okay, to me, this might be showing her. The camera might have a mid or a close up on her running up this, so her feet on the steps. And then no matter how many steps I try to skip with small leaps, this I would show her maybe towards the end. Like in my head, the camera shot is towards the end. She's trying to leap. She's trying to skip some steps. And then my chest burned by the time I reached the upper corridor. Okay. So I'm trying to create a movement of camera shots through quick edits or through quick cuts. That's what I'm trying to do. But that's because of my, again, as most of the people follow along, I have a background in screenwriting. So I like to visually see it unfold. Again, this is why in the rush of my morning, I like to have movement. I like to show things in motion. Because again, if I'm watching it on television, right, and let's say the shot is her just walking through the hallway, and there's narrative. Conscription Day is always the deadliest. Maybe that's why the sun, because that's what this feels like narrative, and I'm just not a fan of narration. Opening like, let's jump exposition on people, even though I know why it's there. I have had the literal conversations with producers and other people that are like, we just need to get this crap out of the way so people understand. Because remember, context, you can challenge context, you can't challenge the unknown. So to me, this is just narration. So I wanted to allow it to flow through more movement. Are there any factors that go into your personal choice? Oh wait, you already answered that. Hello, what is up? Welcome back to the show. All right, if you don't know what's going on, because I don't know if you've seen this kind of show, I'm basically taking something that's written and I'm just writing it in my author's voice. I'm not saying what I am writing is better than the original. I'm just showing people how the things we choose to focus on, which is, I was answering Rose's question when you came in. Are there any factors that go into your personal choice describing the environment? So that's what's happening here. Is I'm making choices to describe certain things because I'm trying to look through a camera lens, and that's what's ultimately happening there. Anyway, but if you also notice, I am now qualifying why she created those few leaps at the end and more steps. But at the same time, not that I should be rushing to generals. Sorengales? Is that Sorengale? Let's see. Sorengale, flying here and now. Yeah, Sorengales. Sorengales. Okay. So now I have all this. Okay. All right. I might keep this, but let's see. This is what 6 months of intense physical training has given me, the ability to barely. 6 months. All right. So, okay. What am I doing here? Why did I choose this? All right. Well, 6 months of intense physical training, and my legs are still falling numb. 6 flights. And a 30 pounds. Okay. Yay. Thomas is doing a cover song only in literary form while also giving it its own flavor. Yes, correct. This is me doing, finish with my woman cause she couldn't help me with my mind. People think that I'm insane cause I'm. All right. So this is my cover. All right, let's look at word count. We already know that I'm at 118, and this is probably going to be 110, 112. Oh, 90. All right, so I added a little bit more. But again, we talk. Oh, wait. I don't like writing from first person. I agree. I also do not like writing from first person, which, by the way, creates author voice. So the fact that you don't like writing from first person, and maybe you choose third person limited or third person omniscient, or maybe you do the all elusive second person POV, that is part of your author voice. That's a choice. Part of the rules of this experiment is to stay within the POV, the tense, and also follow the same plot points. I don't like reading first person. That's fair. I don't like reading. I don't like reading in first person. I like other people reading to me. So I like to hear first person POVs read through a third person POV in real life. I don't know if that's complicated, but I like to make it as crazy as possible. All right. Anyway, so I've talked about word count and the cost of word count and how what you choose to write, is it worth the cost? And to me, adding more movement through a cinematic lens that also builds on immersion and character is worth me spending the word count. So I don't mind that this turned out to be a little bigger than that. What we got here? I read some awesome books in first person, but I don't like first person. Yes. Yeah, some books are really good, but they're written in first person, and But I also grew up in the with the 80s, fantasy. So I like the third person. Anyway, all right. So let's I'm so fun. This thing really kills me though. This is just pure exposition. Okay. I'm so fucked. Yeah. I guess you could just do this. You know why? Because it is first person. So that's the thing about first person. You could just be like, you could just have them say stuff. I could just be like, whatever. Not like the world is going to end, right? And you could do that. You could do these construct, it is. You could just say it's. So here it is. I've. So in first person, you could do that. In third person limited, or even in third person limited, you try to stay away from that. Omniscient, I believe you could get away with it, and the reason is because omniscient is as if the narrator is a person, like they're a god or a person telling the story or something. So like the narrator itself has voice. Anyway, all right, the thousands. All right, I'm gonna have to try to make this feel like character exposition, or I'm not gonna be able to get through it. The thousands of 20-year-olds waiting outside the gate to enter their chosen quadrant for service are the smartest and strongest in the arena. Hundreds of them have been preparing for the Riders' Corner and the chance to become one of the elite since I've had exactly 6 months. I'm so fucked. All right. Hitting me. All right, I'm gonna change that. My first book was in first, second, and third, and I'm back to first for this one. Soz. I was on the sorries. I was on the treadmill. You never have to apologize for anything you do, Flowers. You're an adult. But the book you're writing, though, I think would benefit from first person because it is your try. However, you have two POVs, right? I think your second book has the two POVs. So that's always a little challenging. It's not that it can't be done, but it's challenging because when you go to another chapter. But I think he was saying you also make the chapters they indicate who it is, right? So, but it's also good to be inside their mind, especially if they do that a lot though. With like even I'm not saying your book is romance, but they do that with romance or thrillers or things like that. So. I'm so fun. All right. Are they out there yet? See, this is the problem. Like, this is just randomly they're talking about it based on them feeling out of shape. They're like, I'm not in shape. I've only been doing this for 6 months, and there's all these people. How am I going to be as good as them, right? But it's just like a statement of information, thousands waiting. I gotta think of this for a second. Yes, and they do. Oh, yeah. I tried reading a Splinter Cell novel a while back that was written in first person. Yeah, because it's, espionage and stuff and action. It annoyed me so much that I haven't been willing to attempt reading another one since. Try. I know Reach is like getting really big because of the TV show now, but try a Reacher book. Try one of the Reacher books. See if you feel the same way. It's really interesting to read Reacher because he mostly thinks. He's he's always analyzing, but he doesn't say a lot. In the show, he has to talk because he has to. We, the audience, need to know how he's coming up with these ideas and thinking. But it's really nice to see how he thinks. So that's a good example. Anyway, okay. Let me see how I'm going to do this. The thousands of things waiting outside the gate to enter. Exactly 6 months of training. Outside the gate. Waiting. Oh, outside. Waiting to enter the gate. I got it. Hey, hop to catch this, so I hoped on to check it out. Welcome, Stephanie. By the way, I did an interview with Stephanie. It's on the Right Mindset podcast stuff. A very good, fun interview. What are we rewriting? So we're rewriting Fourth Moon from Rebecca Yarros. And it's not that we're rewriting it. This is more of an exercise in author's voice. So I'm trying to show how I take something that another author wrote because they have a very specific voice, and then what would it look like in my voice? And the reason I'm doing that is so when you're approaching your writing, you're thinking about these things as well. What matters to you creates your author voice. So the kind of immersion, not just immersion, but the kind of immersion is a part of your author's voice. What characters are talking about, the themes, the tone. Do you like atmosphere? How do you use your sentence structures or your prose? Are you lyrical? All these elements help establish your author's voice. So I'm showing how my author voice can be represented through the same exact plot points. So this also influences the idea that, oh, someone's going to steal my story idea. And the thing is, there are only 7 stories. So if somebody takes your story idea or your narrative, the chances that they're going to be able to write it like you is almost 0 to none. The only way they could literally write it like you is if they just take exactly what you wrote and copy it and steal it. And then that is steal. That is actually stealing. But the concept of a story, there are, 2 people from different worlds fell in love. Name that movie. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Normal people are dealing with mundane lives. An insane thing arrives, some sort of monster or creature, and they have to step up and become the person they didn't believe they could be, and they help save the world. Name that movie. Name that story. Right? So, like, but the way something unfolds through how we write is powerful. Plagiarism. Yeah. Well, plagiarism is me going, is he alive or dead? Has he lost? Right. If I write Iron Man, the song by Black Sabbath, is he alive or dead? Or has he lost? Right. If I write that and the melody, that's plagiarism. I am stealing that. But if I write a song about Iron Man, it's a heavy song, and I'm just talking about Iron Man. He was alive, he was dead, he lost, whatever it is. I can do that. I'm allowed to do that. I could talk about that world but it's the way you represent it. So keep that in mind. More importantly, let's get to this. Exactly. I'm trying to make this less exposition-y, and I think what's happening is I think I'm going to give sound to them. Loud clatter of 1,020-year-olds. Gate, waiting to enter their chosen quadrant. All right. Well, let me get this out. Service. All right. Service. See, this is the thing though. Like, this is just so telling. This is just like I need to. I just don't like. But this, I'm trying to put it through her experience. So exactly 6 months of training, and outside the loud clatter of 1,000-year-olds. You know what I could do? Smarter, stronger. Waiting. You're outside the gate, waiting. All right, waiting to enter the chosen partner for service. Hundreds from across Narvi. Chance. Here for a chance to become one of the elite. Earth. All right, so I still think this is a little exposition. So I gotta all right, hundreds across Nari. And just one person here for a chance to become one of the elite since birth. All right, yeah, okay. I feel a little bit more like that's more of it. All right, so what are we, an hour and 12? All right, we're pretty good. All right, so let's read. All right, that's pretty good. We do an hour. We try not to go over an hour with this stuff. So let's just read it and see what we got. And again, this is a first draft. Remember, all great writing is rewriting. So never feel too self-conscious about your first draft because everything needs work. I could sit here and polish it all day and every day. All right. In the rush of my morning, the warmth of sunlight broke through the windows of the hall in its rise. One I know might be my last, for conscription day is always the deadliest. Tightening my straps, drawing my heavy canvas rucksack to my back, I trudge up the wide staircase. Its stone hit hard against my thick boots as I climb the fortress I call home. No matter how many steps I try to skip with small leaps, my chest burned by the time I reach the upper corridor. Not that I should be rushing to General Sorengal's office. 6 months of intense physical training, and my legs are still falling numb. 6 flights in, and a 30-pound pack. I'm so fucked. Exactly 6 months of training, and outside the loud clatter of thousands of a thousand. Loud clatter of a loud clatter of thousands. Loud clatter of thousands. Okay, clatters of thousands of year-olds. 20-year-olds, all smarter and stronger than I. They're outside the gate waiting to enter their chosen quadrant for service. Hundreds from across Narvi. And I'm just one person here for a chance to become one of the elite since birth. Now, oh, yeah, it's that book. Yeah, it's that book from, it's the book. For some reason, it keeps popping up on my TikTok. Yeah, everyone likes this book. They like this book. All right, so what did I do different? What am I bringing to it that the original may not have had? And again, remember, my version doesn't mean it's the better version. It's just a version that is through the author voice of my style. The first thing that I'm trying to do is every moment is going to be filtered through the emotional experience and choices of the character. So let's kind of give that out. Oh, so it's the emotional experiences and choices of the character. The other thing is I like to filter in immersion, and I like atmosphere and environment to be physically a part of the character's journey. The other thing is I try to make exposition flow through the character exposition and not the narrative exposition. For anyone who doesn't follow this channel or this is your first time watching the video, I define narrative exposition as just traditional exposition where it just kind of is an aside, or it's just as this part is, it just stops the narrative and explains something. Character exposition is information through the experiences of the narrative movement of what you're writing. So this is a statement and then an opinion. Okay. What I did was I created movement. She is in the rush of my so in the it's romanticy because I hate that. I think it is. It's considered. We learned that it's new adults, and it is considered fantasy with a romantic plot. So anyway, so I create some movement because I'm picturing a camera, right? And then I'm adding some immersive environment and a description so that it broke through the walls. So we're picturing sunlight through the windows. All right. And then we give her opinion. One I know might be my last. Why might it be its last? Because logical narrative movement dictates that I have to qualify some element from the previous sentence. And why is it going to be last? Well, I'm informing that for conscription day is always the deadliest. All right, now we can change the movement to jump into what's going on. And again, I tighten the straps. To me is more like, hey, let me tell you what I'm doing. Whereas this, in my mind, is creating more of a cinematic flow. So tightening my strips, there is movement to that. When I say movement, it is the sense of motion. All right, so tightening my straps, drawing my heavy canvas rucksack to my back, I trudge up the wide staircase. Okay. And then we want to qualify something from that sentence to create logical narrative movement. I chose staircase and trudge, and I combined them to say that its stone hit hard against my thick boots as I climbed the fortress I call home. Okay. So now this leading up, we're going to continue to qualify it no matter how many steps I try to skip with small leaps, my chest burns. So we are qualifying the rush upstairs, right? Like how it is influencing it, how hitting the stones and getting up there is influencing the internal truth. So now we went from outside to inside. So this is external and now this is internal. Okay, burn the time I reached the corridor. And then, of course, we qualify the corridor. Why is she rushing? Why is she running? Why is she trying to get up the stairs so quick? Well, it's because she's getting to General Sorrengail's office. Okay. Then I want to create a logical narrative movement to qualify why she is rushing and why she is feeling like crap. And it's because 6 months of intense physical training and my legs are still falling numb. So I put this in the framing of what she has physically experienced, but also giving her processing that information. Whereas this is the ability. This is just straightforward. This is a really funny moment, and I think that's a really nice moment. But I changed it to reflect more of my style. In the original, it's more of a commentary, right? And then this, I'm trying to create more of immersion to this. So she's stating the commentary, the ability to barely climb 6 flights of stairs with a 30-pound frame, right? But in mine, I'm giving her legs, I'm creating the immersion with her legs falling numb, 6 flights in, okay? We already know there's stairs, so I don't have to repeat that again. Okay, and then the ellipsis and a 30-pound pack, that creates character, right? So the character movement. And then the realization, the logical narrative movement here, same as here, is the realization after all that, I'm still not in shape. I'm so fucked. Why? Well, because exactly 6 months of training and outside the loud clatter of thousands, right? Exactly 6 months of training and outside the loud clatter of thousands. So this is our competition. I'm 6 months in and outside all the smart. This is her commentary on it, but she hears them. So I'm creating immersion because the loud clatter of the loud clatter of thousands of 20-year-olds, all smarter and stronger than I. they're outside the gate waiting to enter their chosen quadrant for service, right? And then I sort of kind of qualify that. It's hundreds from across Narvi, and I'm just one person here for a chance to become one of the elites since birth. So the original sort of kind of leads with that information, but I'm letting her process that information. So she's like, I have only been training 6 months in, and there's clearly thousands of people far more skilled than I, and I'm only one person, you know, and I'm going to be one of the elites. That's impossible. So I changed the way she's processing it, because again, I don't like internal dialogue, and I don't like the thought element, but I do like showing process, and you do that. Yeah, it doesn't feel very fantasy world. I mean, it can. I mean, Game of Thrones, they say it all the time, right? But I'm trying to allow her to process the emotional truth. And when you do that, you show a character doing something. And that's what I'm trying to do. And that's what I like to do with my author's voice. I like to show processing. I don't like to dictate processing. The other thing you notice is I try to, as much as possible, change up my, right? Because a lot of times, especially newer authors, we find ourselves saying, especially in first person or even third person, where it's like Thomas walked through the house. He sat down on the couch and he relaxed his legs up on the table, right? Or in first person, it's I walked through the front door and then I sat down on the couch and I relaxed my legs up, right? So I try to change that up as much as possible, and I do that by creating the movement. I open up with movement. So in the rush of my morning, the warmth of sun, and I create like a descriptor, and then I is in there, so that creates the perspective. Again, tightening my straps. Now we're in the POV still, drawing my heavy canvas. I trudge up. So I isn't there. And then I describe it's stone. So now I'm describing the stone. I'm giving it sort of like a personality. No matter how many steps I take, right? So that's something I like to do as well when I write. I don't mind putting a character's name there. I don't mind he or she. I don't mind any of that. None of that bothers me. But if I can, I try to avoid that. I try to create, and what that does is it helps speed up the reading, because it doesn't become repetitive. Now, a fast read is different than fast pace. Remember, pace is the speed at which information is presented to the reader. A fast read happens through logical narrative movement and also the illusion of change, right? So the illusion of change is the fact that, okay, there's logical narrative movement here, but I'll show you. So I don't have to think here. There's no thinking from, oh, look at that. As I, there's no thinking involved between these two sentences, because that's what logical narrative movement does. It informs or qualifies information from the previous sentence. So the learning curve is shortened because we are associating. So tightening my straps, drawing my heavy canvas rucksack to my back, I trudge up the wide stairs. Its stone hit hard against my thick boots as I climbed the fortress I call home. No matter how many steps I try to skip, right? So it creates a fast read because it is always working to inform or qualify a previous thing. So the learning curve is gone. It's ultimately, I'm not adding new information that we have to, what is XYZ. I'm not adding, when you add like if I say the NARI or if I say the blue, 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 or whatever, that's something that would sort of slow down the pace, because you'd have to think, creates density. But at the same time, if you write prose that feel like statements, like Thomas entered the house, he sat on the couch, he turned on the television, that's technically one pro, because it is the movement of them entering the house, but those are just statements, and it's a slow read because the brain has to connect the dots between entering the house, sitting on the couch, turning on the television. That's a quick example. But the idea is, if you qualify things beforehand, anything in a sentence, and it could be whatever I want. Like, for example, tightening my straps, Drawing my heavy canvas rucksack to my back, I trudge up the wide staircase. I don't have to talk about the staircase here. I could technically continue to talk about the weight. Maybe I could talk about the weight of the backpack. My backpack, how my back, ached in pain from the weight of my backpack, whatever. I could have done that. The logical thing, though, is staircase, because we want to now define the staircase. Does Rebecca do that? Let's see. I tied the straps to my stone fortress. I should trudge up. So what she's qualifying is the exertion or the effort, and that's why she talks about the chest, my chest, right? And then she jumps it. This is where I think the transition could be a little bit smoother, but ultimately. But also, remember, authors are worried, oh, my sentences are too long. The sentence is too long. This is 3 long sentences. Got 1, 2, and trace. So it's not necessarily that you shouldn't have long sentences in a row or a bunch of short sentences in a row, but it's just a matter of how you utilize it, and that creates some of your author voice. So if you're doing a lyrical style, if you're not doing a lyrical style, these are all things to think about. All right, with that said, I give the floor to the audience. You're welcome to ask questions about what we went over today, or you're welcome to ask questions about your own writing. If you have questions that you need help with, I am a developmental editor and a writing teacher, so it's sort of like getting free advice from somebody in that field. Or you could just shoot the crap with me, just to say some random stuff. So because I know there's a lag. Yeah, there's a little lag in the video and the live stream. I give it a second or two. I had a lot of fun today, though. This was exciting. If you don't know, fun news. Oh wait, I got a message. Let's just do. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So fun news. The local library officially sent me the paperwork. I am teaching another writing class. It doesn't matter where it is because no one lives in the state I live in. But so I'm officially teaching an 8-week class at the library. They asked me to come in and teach outlining and basically narrative prose. How to clean up and speed up the prose. So that should be a lot of fun. So that's good news. I'm excited about that. I don't know about you, but this will be the second time. The second time I will be teaching a class at the library. Yeah, right. It is nice. It's nice. It's a nice little hey, thank you, flowers. Yay! Yeah, so but it's nicer. It's nice when they contacted me. They were like, we would like you to come back, because the first time I did it was for me. Like, I did a class and I was like, I want to bring a class here, and they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. But they were watching the class, and they're really nice people, and we would talk, and it's just nice that they wanted me to come, especially once they opened the new library. So it's really beautiful too, and they got a lot of really cool things there. They got 3D printers. You could have your own. You could print your own stuff there, but they also got books and everything like that. It's really nice. It's really nice. But I love giving back to the community. I like being able to do this. So that's there. But I figured I'd share that news with you. I start in June, and yeah, can't wait. Anyway. All right, if anyone has any questions, let's ask the questions. Anything else? I guess that's it. With my ringer. By the way, I had this guy I used to do a podcast with, and he'd always go, "Oh, I'm not finished talking," and I'd be like, "Oh, all right." So I got him one of these things, but the one I got him was like a smiley face. And I go, every time you're done, when you feel like you're finished, just hit that. I'm reading Isaac. How is it? Let me know. Hey, Stephanie. Oh, you too. Have a wonderful weekend. Glad I caught it live. I'm glad you did too. Tomorrow I do another live where I'm writing a book in real time on the screen, and I talk about the outlining process. And right now we're working on the zero draft, so you get to see the zero draft process itself. It's a lot of fun. So if you have a couple minutes, same thing, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do it for about an hour and a half. I went to a 2-month writing class at my local library held by a writer. How was it? Did you enjoy it, Ro? Did you learn anything? More importantly, would you do it again? Like chess. What about my chess? All right. I know it's a different spelling. Ooh, he is great. Is great. What would you say is 3 things that stood out to you for that book? I know he's I don't think he's alive anymore, right? Or is he alive? I don't know. I think he died. He's old. Wasn't he old? I don't know. I think he died. Russian philosopher, though, I believe. Now, when you say you read, are you reading a book about him or are you reading his books? Because I know he has books like I, Robot. If anyone doesn't know, I, Robot, I believe, is one of his books. He loves using the word queer. Sometimes. Maybe he's using it for different reasons, though. We don't know. His books. Yeah. But I, Robot is a book that Isaac wrote, which is basically, it's not the Will Smith movie per se, but it is basically. And then doesn't Bicentennial Man? They're for different reasons. Yeah. Like it was a queer day. Yeah. I think because back then, I mean, when did that book come out? Didn't his books come out in like what is the 50s or something, or the 50s? Yeah, he's an old writer. But yeah, it's sort of like saying, oh, I was happy and gay, or whatever the case may be, or if it's a British, it's like British people saying, oh, I smoked 2 fags today. Like it's word and change and stuff like that. Yeah, it's sometimes when you read all the books, it's not necessarily to be insensitive. It's just the style of word use evolves over time, and we should try to evolve with it as much as we can. I learned a lot, but it was a bit too over my head. Your approach has been more of a meeting people where they're at. I try to. One of the things that's important to remember when it comes to teaching a class is that sometimes when teachers teach writing stuff, they'll teach like terminology as if everybody's aware of it. And what I like to do is I like to teach like the terminology, and then I like to break it down and simplify it, and then try to associate it with something similar. Yeah. His books are old, the 60s. It's 50s, 60s. Yeah. Yes, I've had to hold back on the. It's not good for your lungs. Not to be confused with the Alan Parsons Project, iRobot. Yeah, of course not. It is a different. I believe iRobot is a according to this information right here, is a fix-up collection of science fiction stories. All right. Short stories by American writer Isaac Asimov. Asimov. Anyway, that was exciting. Not to be confused with. Yes, of course. That's why I'm saying it's not the Will Smith movie. By the way, if you haven't already, makearightlefthehere.com. Do you have what it takes to make a right left here? Do you? You can find everything from who I am, what I do, and all the other fun stuff. Was it 3:30? Let's see. Oh, look at this. I forgot that I wrote this. Pacing is the speed. I tried to write the definitions into this the banner thing so I could show what is a position. A position is something all characters have, and they have a lot of them. Those positions can range from their favorite color to what their beliefs is on the creation of the world. Positions are so important when you're writing. Just keep that in mind. Characters need to have positions because then you can challenge their positions, but those positions also influence when and where they speak and when and where they take action. What genre are you writing? Well, personally, I write both self-help books. I'm writing a self-help series. This is the first book in that series. It's It's almost ready to be published. I'm just finishing up the audiobook. But I also write epic fantasy, adult epic fantasy. I want to say it's in the lines of like a Game of Thrones, but it's not. It's a little, I would say it's less exposition-y and more character driven. And then of course I have the sci-fi book I write on Sundays, but I mostly write epic fantasy. It's my favorite genre to write in. But I've also started working on some like smaller books, books that I hope to be anywhere between 60 and 90,000 words, where they're sort of like asides in that world. And then I have another series that I outlined, which is called 2013, and that is my epic fantasy world, but in the future, which would be what we would consider modern age. So it's like where there's like, they have buildings and cars and planes, but it takes place in the same world, but it's called 21-3. And then I have another one series called The Circle. And the way that book, I want to try to make that book, I want to try to make it where like you read like a chapter, and then at the end of the chapter, you can choose which character you want to follow. And then like you can just read that character through the book, or whatever. So like it allows you to choose, because the tagline is choose your poison, because they're all addicts in some way or another. So it's The Circle, choose your poison, right? And then you get to choose the addict you want to follow. It would be neat if you come to Comic-Con here in Washington next month on June 7th. I wish I could, but not only is that too early of a notice, but also traveling is a little difficult for me right now. However, I was going to do Comic-Con this year in New York, but I missed the deadline. By the way, I will be making the first 2 chapters into 3 chapters. Okay. I like it. Does it feel better that way, Ro? Do you instantly feel like how like the pressure has been? Now these you can now breathe. It could breathe a little bit more. You could like, oh wait, I can allow this information to unfold and give it its due, and allow the reader to have some time with that. I'm just saying. I do that often. Don't. There's a chapter. It was called the Naradita. That was the name of the chapter. And then I think I talked about this, and I broke that up into 2. And then there was another chapter which was basically the trials for the characters, and that I broke that up into 2. And then I was like, you know what? I don't need this first part, so I actually got rid of a chapter. So you gotta let your gut feeling and the pace and everything kind of work together. I added almost 3,000 words to my manuscript since last time I complained it's too short. I mean, that's good. That's good. 3,000 words. That's like almost a full chapter. Excellent work. Proud of you. 3,000 words. Not bad. Now, obviously, they're not all the same word. Imagine that. I added 3,000 words to my manuscript. The word was the. I figured I'd fill it up with the article, as it would make the most sense. Did you know, I could be wrong on this, but Benjamin Franklin he fought to get rid of the word the. And he believes that we should approach the dictionary the same way as some cultures where they take away words. So next week, I should start on section 6. Woo-hoo! Wow, section 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're at the last section of Act 2. I like it. I'm very proud of you. Oh, yeah. The Horde. Hold the door. Okay. Spoiler. I'm open to trying things all kinds of ways. That's what she said. Interested to see how things flow using that approach. I would like to see how it unfolds too. I am a fish. I might have to shrink P15's resolution. I will see how it goes. Hey, you got to do what you got to do. As long as it feels right and it moves with clarity and understanding, you should be good. Exactly. Excellent. That's what she said. Yes, that's right. She did say that. I'm open to trying things. Well, you're writing a romance, aren't you, Emma? So you know what trying new things would. By the way, when writing a romance, I really like to know this. When do you decide, yeah, let's do it. Let's get into the touchy part. You know, because I've read some romances where they like we need to talk about how Jacob was just murdered in front of us. What do we do about that? And then like they're having sex. I'm like, could we finish? I want to know what they're gonna do about Jacob. Not that kind of romance. Oh, my bad. Is your kind of romance where they just kiss? Where they're just like, hey, Bob. Hey, Christine. Or is it like, what kind of romance? What's that? Like a sex at 60? Listen, I can't even have sex at 40. I'm just because I'm not 40 years old anymore. Just saying. This is the slowest burn I've ever written. They have only just kissed, and then one of them is still wibbling. Is that a British term? What's wibbling? Like meandering, like on the fence, like they haven't made the move. They don't have the confidence to just make it happen. I like it. Slow burn. You can't go wrong with a slow burn. I like a slow burn. Mine are pretty closed door. It's sort of like, hey, I noticed you noticing me. You want to, and then they're like, yes. And then it's like fade to black. I write adult epic fantasy, and I'm the same way. I don't really like, unless it's a character, if it's character driven, like if the character doesn't care, then it's something that I show. Yes. See, I did deductive reasoning with that. I just want to put that on the table. Deductive reasoning. Black Adam with wibbling in the trenches. Ooh. Ooh. Rowan, oh yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Fun fact about Rowan Atkinson's Mr. Bean. He's an alien. People don't know that. At the beginning of the episodes of Mr. Bean, a light forms and he drops down because he's being let go from the alien spaceship. Either that or he was being probed. One of the two. All right. They'll have a song, but before boobs are released, the scene ends. Oh, a snog. A snog. I'm sorry. First of all, I wish it was a song. Like, I'm in love with you. You're in love with me. Shall we kiss? Don't show the boobs. Shut the door. Close the blinds. We're going to get it on and shag. I like snog, though. Snog is good. He's an alien being. Yeah. Is Mr. Bean an alien? Yeah, boom. It's a theory suggests he is an alien due to his unusual behavior. But if you watch the beginning of the episode, of every episode, yeah, because it's confirmed in an animated series that he's an alien. Because Bean is an alien because he's dropped from a spaceship at the beginning of every episode. All right. Well, you liked my song, didn't you? Anyways. Oh, that was fun. All right. I guess before we go, real question. What did you think about my adjustments and changes? And also, do you notice the author voice and style change that is represented in the rewrite? And like how you could potentially, what are you looking for in your own writing to see if your author voice is there? Which is, what kind of immersion do you like? What kind of style do you like? Lyrical? Do you like straightforward? Do you like simple and clarity? Which is nothing wrong with that. Brandon Sanderson writes with simple clarity, stuff like that. Should we try writing this in our voice as well? Of course, yeah. I believe that's something I say almost every episode with this Rewrite the Greats. Basically, take the first page of any book that you like, but I would follow the rules. The rule is follow the plot beats, let the same exact plot beats play out. Because remember, plot is what needs to happen, but story is how it unfolds through the emotional experiences and choices of your characters. So that you have the freedom. You have freedom of what characters are experiencing and what they choose to do. But we need to introduce the conscription day and the fact that the character, she is nervous. So that's what we tried to do. What we got here? Thomas, the 2 stones in the second para hurt my soul. Could one go, please? The 2 stones. Oh, let's see. Oh, first of all, that's the original. I cannot change the original. That is Rebecca Yarros' original. This is the rewrite. So Thomas J. Bellezza wrote this. This is Rebecca Yarros. I can't change ours. Pretty please. Yeah, I changed it over here. Look, there's only 1 stone here. Look at that. There's only 1 stone on my version. See? Yeah. No. Yeah, no, we don't like to repeat ourselves when we're writing. And I'm sure you and I are on the same page with that. Because I don't like to repeat. Yeah, see, I did change it. See, you have changed it. Oh my God. Yeah, we're like on the same page. Thank you. I appreciate that. But you are the fantastic one. I am just here. My heart is happy. Yeah, like why would I never, let's see, Stone Fortress, and then I reached the Stone Corridor. Like we don't like, I don't know why she has that. But again, hey, she's published. My heart is happy. My heart is happy anytime I see you on the live. I just want you to know you're a fantastic human being. Yeah. But with that said, to Rose point. Oh, Rebecca needs to sort herself out. I don't want to give an opinion, but I agree. But to Rose's point, yeah, this is something to do to help you hone your author skill. Obviously, you don't use this to write your own books. You don't go, oh, let me rewrite what I read, and I'm going to rewrite Fourth Wing, but in my voice. Like, I'm not saying that. But this helps you kind of establish and to look at what's different between your style of writing, your author's voice, and other people's author's voice. Why is that important? Because the more we can recognize in ourselves in our writing, or where our strengths and weaknesses are, et cetera, it helps us really establish and hone those things to be more of a tool at our beck and call and less of something we do. Because again, some of us are intuitive, right? We just write, and like it just kind of plays itself on the page. But all great writing is rewriting. So as you're reworking it, that's when writing actually starts. I talk about this in my class. I start off, I go, writing is easy. Sarah met Tom or Sarah met Chris. But being a writer is about asking questions. It's about analyzing. It's about, there's more going on than just I wrote some pages. Morticia is glaring at me. Meow, mama, meow. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, we can call it a day. We can call it. Anyway, all right. That was a lot of fun. Boop, boop. Hey, look, that's my face. All right. What do we got here? Oh, Mike's working pretty good today. All right, sorry. All right, so by the way, if you haven't done so already and you've been following, you're like, I really am starting to enjoy this guy. Not only does he sing show tunes, but sometimes he's funny looking, mostly. So please subscribe, hit the bell icon so you don't miss out. But more importantly, remember, every like, comment, and share the video. Even if you just hit share and pop it on your post wall, you could hit share and be like, oh, create a post. That's tremendous help for this channel. It allows me to keep those numbers growing so I can keep paying the bills, but more importantly, put time back into boom. I appreciate that you shall consider subscribing. I created 7 other accounts just to subscribe to your channel, Emma. I just want you to know 6 of them are fake me's, and one of them is yes, catch you tomorrow. Appreciate it. Bye, everyone. Bye. So please subscribe if you can, but more importantly, makearightlefthere.com. That's where you can find me. I think that's it. We're done for today. I'm Thomas J. Bellezza, and as always, keep developing the right mindset. I'll see you next time. Bye.